declaring a national emergency just a little while ago. The drastic move frees up some $50 billion in federal funding and speaks to the gravity of this moment. After weeks of criticism, the president is promising to ramp up the government response to the health and economic crisis, vowing to make more testing.
The coronavirus has gone global, and so has the fear.
The World Health Organization says the coronavirus outbreak is now officially a pandemic.
The ever-deepening coronavirus fallout, threatening healthcare systems, economies, social and political infrastructure around the world.
And we're joined now live by U.S. Surgeon General Dr. Jerome Adams. Dr. Adams, good morning. Good to see you again, sir.
Good morning, and I want America to understand, this week, it's going to get bad.
It's currently day 7 after Trump declared a national emergency over the coronavirus pandemic, which has currently spread into the United States. And today I just want to talk about some of the really big conspiracy theories that are surrounding the coronavirus. There's a lot of confusion on the internet and a lot of memes, so we're going to break down some of those today. So first we're going to be talking about the New World Order conspiracy theory, which is obviously pretty far stretched, but it is definitely worth talking about. So the New World Order, everyone kind of knows what that is, but basically it's just all of the governments uniting into one giant government in order to rule the entire world, and it's generally described as pretty evil. It's usually the really rich people that are all uniting together to sort of just take everything over. So it's pretty terrifying, and I'd say the world is working together right now more than I've ever seen in my lifetime, which is pretty wild, honestly. So the world is working together now more than ever in order to defeat this pandemic, and the UN is always somehow involved in these New World Order conspiracy theories, I feel like. So the UN plays a big role. Also, obviously celebrities, there's, you know, the theory that Beyonce, Jay-Z, the Kardashians, all of those big names are a part of this, and that there's weird initiation rituals in order to like get them in. But this is scarier than anything I've ever seen. This is more intense than anything I've ever seen personally, because this affects everyone, and this could lead into martial law, which blows my mind. I mean, personally, I'm already out of a job. I wait tables, so I'm already like done. Like I can't, I'm not allowed to work, and I'm not allowed to go to school either. So that leads into like FEMA camps and FEMA starting to get involved, which they are starting to get involved a little bit, which terrifies me more than anything, because if we go into martial law, there are theories that FEMA camps will open up, and that's where everyone will be sent. So like Walmarts will get taken over, big spaces like that will get taken over, and everyone will just be sent into these camps and guarded by armed guards and stuff like that, which, I don't know, it's all just really, truly terrifying to even consider. But I was reading on this website that martial law, you probably won't just hear the term martial law being said by the president or by news outlets or anything like that. It'll probably start off as a national state of emergency, which is what we're in right now. And if martial law gets declared, then our constitutional rights are just gone completely. We have no constitutional rights whatsoever. Another big conspiracy theory around this is that that is intentional so that Trump can stay in office, so that the election is postponed, which several primaries have been postponed already. That is a possibility that the entire election, they're saying that this could last until August or longer. So the idea of the election getting postponed, or if we go into martial law, Trump just declaring that there's not going to be an election, he can just stay in office. That right there, that's how dictatorship starts. So another really big conspiracy theory that I think is worth talking about is predictive programming. And Shane Dawson has talked about this a lot. It's a really interesting theory. And one of the biggest examples with that is 9/11. And what predictive programming is the idea that the government puts subtle hints into ads, into the media, into movies and TV shows that will kind of subconsciously prepare us for big things that are going to happen, whatever that may be. So there's obviously the 9/11 example. There were so many movies, so many TV shows that kind of predicted 9/11. But when it comes to the coronavirus, there are so many examples of epidemics, pandemics, of the world kind of shutting down due to them. Now, usually they're more deadly than the coronavirus, but still, it's definitely worth taking note of. And I think maybe that's why a lot of people are kind of blowing it off and saying, oh, it's not a big deal, it's not killing a lot of people. We've been so desensitized because of all of these things in video games, in TV shows and stuff like that. So there's video games like Red Dead Redemption, Plague Inc. There are movies like Cabin Fever, Patient Zero. Well, there's also Z Nation, which is a little bit, it's a little bit sketchy if you ask me, but there are just so many examples of plagues hitting. So that predictive programming could have been more so preparing us for something even worse, so that when something like this comes along, it's not even a big deal at all, and people blow it off and then end up in the hospital. Or the government can do things like lock down the entire country and postpone elections or cancel elections. Just a thought, just an idea. Now, one of the biggest memes going around right now is that the government just is locking everyone inside because they just need to change the batteries in the birds. So that kind of goes into the simulation theory, which again, it has been highly covered by Shane Dawson, and that is also a very interesting theory. It's pretty self-explanatory. That's just the idea that we are in a simulation, that someone, thousands of years in the future is controlling our every move, that we're kind of like The Sims. So what if they're having glitches or too many issues with the game, and we're all having to be forced inside so that they can fix everything. The next thing I'd like to talk about is China's death tolls and how some of those might be incorrect. And this, guys, might not even be a conspiracy theory. This could literally be reality, which is super scary if it is. But there's talk that the death tolls in China are being lied about. There's talk that these death tolls are fabricated because China is categorizing people's deaths as being severe pneumonia instead of coronavirus, when in reality it is coronavirus. Or bodies are immediately being taken to the crematorium right after death instead of being, the cause of death being identified. So we don't know how many people have died from this in reality in China. And that leads into a whole population control theory, because the United States and China has something in common, and that is a population issue. And you might be thinking that the United States doesn't have a population issue, but we do. And it's not with young people or even, you know, middle-aged people. It's with elderly people, which the coronavirus disproportionately affects elderly people. And guys, this is really sickening to think about. I don't like to think about this being reality, but elderly people are drawing from Social Security, and Social Security was invented at a time where life expectancy was not near as long as it is today. People are living into their 80s and their 90s, and they're drawing from Social Security that wasn't meant for them. It isn't meant for them. It's meant for the generation behind them. And there is such a high demand for healthcare, and it's eventually not going to be able to be met because there's going to be such a high demand for it. And so, as morbid as it is to think, this could be a reason why coronavirus came about, because obviously China has a population issue. I mean, I've been hearing since I was a kid that, you know, they would only allow people to have so many children, and they had to be a certain gender and whatever else. So it wouldn't be the first time that they took measures to the extreme in order to limit their population or control their population. And there's also rumors and theories that this actually came from a lab. The coronavirus, this strain of coronavirus, I should say, came from a lab that messes around with all sorts of infectious diseases like Ebola or the swine flu or SARS and the coronavirus. So I just don't know how we're not sure how this virus was able to mutate to where it only was spread among animals, then it mutated to where it infected a person, but then it mutated again so that, you know, it would go person to person. So did it come from a lab, or did it actually come from a bat? I mean, I don't know. Wouldn't we have an outbreak like this prior if it really did come from animals? The next thing I want to discuss is mass hysteria, which obviously everyone has been seeing all of the videos, or maybe you've experienced it firsthand going into your local Walmart with lines for toilet paper, or people with carts full of toilet paper, people fighting over it. I've definitely seen the videos of people fighting over toilet paper, and guys, it's crazy.
Hey, stop! I just want one pack. No, not one pack. What's the limit? It's 5 minutes.
Guys, I need everyone to back off right now. No.
There being a shortage of hand sanitizer, there being a shortage of cleaning supplies, paper towels. There's just such a shortage. The Walmarts have actually decided to close at 11 o'clock at night just so that they can restock the entire store.
We're actually closed at 8:30 now, starting on Tuesday or Wednesday. Can you believe that?
Actually, I was just informed that Walmarts have made the decision to close at 8:30 at night now. I mean, as long as they stay open so that, you know, we can still get food. But wow, that is almost unheard of. I can't even believe that. I mean, we've been seeing these examples of mass hysteria everywhere we go. If you cough in public, people are going to look at you funny. They might even back away from you. And it's flu season, it's allergy season. That doesn't mean that you have coronavirus. Elderly people are obviously staying home a lot more, but there are certain grocery stores that are offering to open an hour before they usually do, just for people over the age of 65, so that they're able to get their groceries beforehand, because there are just masses and masses of people flooding in there and getting these essential products that specific people may need more than them, which is causing a lot of issues. I mean, I have seen so many either pregnant women or mothers of very small children posting that they can't get baby wipes because people are getting baby wipes because there's no disinfectant wipes. I'm sorry, but if you don't have a small child, don't get baby wipes. Don't take those away from babies that actually need them. That's just crazy. The mass hysteria has gotten so out of hand and so out of control. I can't even imagine the stress that grocery store workers are having to go through right now. I would definitely not want to be in their shoes right now, but kudos to them for sure. So sort of a little side note, a little bit of another conspiracy theory. Some people believe that this might have been brought on by corporations in the grocery stores, like hand sanitizer companies or toilet paper companies, in order to generate more revenue that way, which it's a possibility for sure. I mean, there could be a lot of different agents here working together that we have no way of knowing. I mean, and if you look at how much these companies have profited and how much, you know, that has gone up, their profits have gone up, you know, 400%, and their stocks, you know, everyone's talking about how the stock market is crashing. Well, take a look at those companies, because I guarantee you they're not crashing. They are skyrocketing. So when you start looking at the motives that certain people would have to spread this virus or start this virus or just make it into this huge deal and cause this mass hysteria, there is a lot of motivation on all sides of things, whether you're looking at politics or you're looking at, you know, big corporations or you're looking at population control. There is so many motives, and that's, I think, another reason why people are panicking so much, because you don't even know where to pinpoint or who to, I don't know, I don't want to say put blame on, but just kind of rationalize this in your mind and correlate it with a certain entity or a certain person. You can't really do that because you don't know who could be behind it for sure. So obviously this is going to have a huge economical impact on America as a whole. And I'm scared, frankly. I'm not even scared of the virus at this point. Like I said before, I'm a waitress. I'm out of work right now. I can't pay my bills right now. And that is terrifying to me. That is more terrifying than any virus. Not to say that this should not be taken seriously. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that if other people who are out of a job right now are anywhere in the same level that I am, it's terrifying. I don't know. I mean, what do I do? Get another job for 2 weeks? I don't know that that's the answer. And then there's talk of the government paying us, but when? Are they gonna pay me before my rent's due? Because I don't think that's gonna happen. So what do I tell my landlord? I mean, obviously my landlord should know what's going on, but will they be sympathetic? I don't know. Something that all of these theories could feed into, and something that everyone and their mother kind of is starting to, at least what I've seen on social media, at least post about, is that this is just a distraction. And, you know, I've seen theories of certain things being a distraction from other things, like how Britney Spears shaved her head back in the day, and so all the media was covering Britney Spears, or the O.J. Simpson trial. But this is on an even larger scale, because this could literally keep us inside of our homes. San Francisco, as of right now, is being kept in their homes. Italy is being kept in their homes. This could, the gravity of this impact on us could be larger than anything we've ever seen before. And so, what is it distracting us from? I don't know, because the news cycle is completely dominated by this. Everyone's minds is completely dominated by this. Even if you're blowing it off, you can't go on any form of social media or flip on the news without hearing about this, without constantly seeing this, you know. And if you don't think much of it, your family member probably does, or your friend probably does. You're hearing about this one way or the other, whether you like it or not. So what are we being distracted from? Because I'm not saying that this virus isn't serious, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't take measures to flatten this curve, but it's not like it's just downright killing everybody that it infects. It's not like it's, you know, just wiping out masses and masses and masses of people. So what are we not seeing? I know that there was recently a pretty decent missile attack, and by decent I mean large missile attack that the United States launched. Personally, that's pretty much all that I've seen, but I don't feel like, I mean, we do that all the time, so let's be real. I don't see that being the big thing that we're being distracted from. And hey, maybe it's, you know, the election getting postponed eventually. Maybe it's, you know, how we're easily sliding into martial law and we're gonna lose our constitutional rights. Who knows? But it is important to not let fear dominate your mind at all times, and to keep your eyes open and pay attention to other things that are happening. Especially, you know, if you can't work, you can't go to school, you're shut inside your house, make an effort to look at coverage that isn't just about COVID-19.